What up, everybody? Welcome back. Another manga live reaction. Jump Plus tonight. Live reaction number 3. It's the third time that I've live reacted and reviewed Jump Plus manga. Pretty light week. Only Chainsaw Man, Dandadan, and Diamond in the Rough have new chapters, according to my current roster. But the Diamond in the Rough chapter is like an extra chapter that's only like 6 pages, so fuck that. So I added Marriagetoxin to the roster so that we could at least have 3 manga that I'm reviewing and live reacting to the newest chapters of. So that's what we're on tonight. Next week for Jump Plus should be bussin' though. If most of the shit is bi-weekly, so like we're gonna have these weird, weeks where like half or most of everything is like, on break or whatever. But then next week that means, you know what I'm saying, Kaiju number 8, Kajiki Chef, Skeleton Double, Diamond in the Rough. Well, maybe not Diamond in the Rough because it had a bonus chapter, but pretty much everything should be back except for Chainsaw Man. So I'm excited for next week too. But here we go. Brad Skate for life, subscribe with Prime. Thank you so much. 2 months, the second month of subscription. Appreciate that. Marriagetoxin is very good. I love Marriagetoxin. I am happy to have it here on the roster. But yeah, you already know what the deal is. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a crazy copyright filter over all of the panels and all of the pages. If you don't want to deal with that, obviously, the best way to avoid it is to show up for the live streams. If you ever miss a stream and want to watch it later, they all do eventually go on YouTube, so no worry about that. If you want it a day early, you can holler at me on Patreon for $1. And there's a tier that'll give you, 24-hour early access to the VODs before they hit YouTube. There's also a link to a patron-exclusive Discord server that I spend most of my free time in nowadays. So we have a lot of fun in there too. If you want to go the extra mile to support your boy, patreon.com/thepagewalker. But otherwise, visit the About section and click all the links in there if you're on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, visit the description section and click all the links there. There's also timestamps down there if you're watching on YouTube so that you can, skip segments for the series that you're not yet caught up in. But what up, everybody? How we feeling tonight? Kippin'? What up, Kip? Knox, are you gonna read Hunter x Hunter in November? Absolutely. It's one of my favorite series of all time. I will definitely be reading Hunter x Hunter when it comes back. I didn't know we had a date, but if November is a real date, then I'm very excited for that. We don't know if Hunter x Hunter is coming back in November. Okay, that's a little bit more in line with my expectations for Hunter x Hunter's return. That's way too early of a notice. I want to say that anytime Hunter x Hunter comes back out of hiatus, it's like a week or 2 before a chapter drops. Over a month is crazy. I can't believe that. Knox making me add more weekly to keep up with. Absolutely I am. Yeah, Marriagetoxin's really good. Diamond in the Rough's really good. Make the Exorcist Fall in Love. Everything that I'm live reacting to on this roster is incredible. Check the schedule in the About section on the Twitch channel if you want to see everything that is currently on the lineup. Just caught up on Hunter x Hunter the other day. Beautiful. Love that for you. How do you feel? How was that for you? Mini muted. Hunter x Hunter current arc could be the greatest shonen arc if it finishes. I agree. The potential is absolutely there. It's going to be a whole volume. We do know that. It's coming in November. Google it. Yeah, I'm not going to Google it. I've been a Hunter x Hunter fan for a very long time. I just don't trust that information at all, even when you Google it. Even when you Google it, it's not a guaranteed situation. I'd have to hear it like as an official statement from Shueisha, Weekly Shonen Jump. Some official, crazy official source has to provide that. You know what I'm saying? Or we could just go to the Viz site or something like that and like pull up Hunter x Hunter or something and see how many days away it is. You know, the closer we get, things like that confirm things better than, I don't know, some CBR article or, you know, some third-party news source or whatever. I got Togashi on Twitter. I'm sure he's gonna say some shit directly to us if that's the case. Is it official? Okay. Well, Dead Zombie, you have succeeded. You have succeeded in making me look it up. The official Shonen Jump editorial Twitter account is officially confirmed that the Hunter x Hunter Volume 37 will be released for publication on November 4th, 2022. Well, that does seem to be official. Let's take a look and see what Hunter x Hunter Volume 37 includes. $381 to $390 into Volume 37. So these chapters are already out. So Volume 37 is just a collection of chapters that have already been released that are finally coming out in book form in November. Right? It's not actually the new chapters past 390 that we're waiting for in November. Right? That's what it is. Let's take a look at Hunter x Hunter Volume 36 and see what it includes. Volumes and chapters. 36 includes 371 to 380. Well, if we go to good old Manga C again. We have 381 to 390. Makes sense for Volume 37, right? This is why I don't care about Hunter x Hunter returning news. It's always wrong. In some way, in some shape or form. Hunter x Hunter's back in November, but not for new chapters. For a collection of chapters that came out 3 years ago. It's usually how it is. Like I said, been doing this a long time, Dead Zombie. But you succeeded in making me look it up. I didn't want to, but you made me do it. So, all right. Now, they misled the article titles to get clicks. Of course they did. That's what they always do. Back to business. It's okay, Dead Zombie. It's okay. It's okay. Now you know. Now you know. Jump Plus live reaction is why we're here. Where do we start? Where are we landing? I think I'll put Marriage Toxin in the middle, right? Because like nobody really knows about Marriage Toxin for real, right? Chainsaw Man and Dandadan are like the two biggest series on this stream tonight. So we got to either start with Chainsaw Man or Dandadan, put Marriage Toxin in the middle, and then end with, you know, whichever one we didn't do, right? End with Chainsaw Man. I like that. I like that. Works for me. Dandadan chapter 75. Okay, that's right. So we got the Uchisake Onna That pulled up the yokai spirit with the disfigured face that always wants to know if people think that they are pretty or not. That was very interesting yokai to run into in this little shortcut to school with Momo and the Evangelion reference. I can never remember her name. Vamola. Vamola. There we go. Vamola. Chapter 75. Ran into someone deadly. Momo. Don't yell pomade at me, you cow. You annoy me, girl. Yep. Wow. Hold on. Wait a minute. I was gonna make a comment on how like Yukinobu Tatsu's double page spreads are always phenomenal, but like this is like a pretty weird situation, right? Because Vamola's right here, turn the page into the kaiju attack, and it's like, aren't you supposed to be wearing that armor yourself? Because you were like right here, like in front of her. Okay. Ooh, stole off her. Oh, it did nothing though. You, I'm fine with. I like you, because your face is homely. Gomu Gomu Go Gatling. Having an ugly mug like yours around makes me look sweet. Oh, hell no. Take the German suplex in a double page spread. That's beautiful. I wonder how many double page spreads are going to be in this chapter. We got 2 already. Boom. Okay. Oops. Shame on me. Oh dear. I didn't throw you that hard, but you really exaggerated the fall. You're a slip-mouthed woman, aren't you? If I chant pomade 10 times, it'll get rid of you, right? I actually did not know that that was like a thing inside of the superstition of the Uchisake Onna. That's pretty cool. Pomade, pomade, pomade. Is it pomade? Pomade? Pomade, 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 pomade. Pomade, pomade. Doof. Okay, so she can... Wow, okay, that's tight. So she uses the mirror as like a vessel for teleporting punches and maybe kicks, just any kind of attack. Can travel through the mirror and come out seemingly anywhere. Usually the Uchisake Onna has, you know, a sharp, you know, weapon of some kind, like a serrated kitchen knife or scissors or some kind of bladed weapon, but this one uses a crazy through the looking glass situation. Didn't I tell you not to shout pomade at me? Looks like I should have taken care of you first. Shit! And? Wah! Jeez, what the hell's happening? It's no use trying to run. Oh, got her with the knucks? The ground in these ruins is covered with mirror shards. Oh, damn. Okay, so it's literally Brûlé from One Piece. Damn, is Brûlé an Uchisake Onna too then? Brûlé from One Piece? Oh, shit. Now, come along. Come to me. Hug? Vamola, you gotta say pomade 10 times in a row. I'll get rid of her. Or it'll get rid of her. Do you understand? You're definitely my favorite. See how sweet I look when I'm next to you? Hold on. Selfie mirror shit? Wait, what? You can stay in this mirror for the rest of your life, so I always look good. And as for you, you better not shout pomade at me anymore, because if I go, then this kid goes too. Oh, wow. I never really trusted her in the first place, so I don't really care. But I also can't stand the thought of losing to you. Guess I'll have to beat you to a pulp and make you even uglier. Momo is such a Chad. Like, deadass. Like, one of my favorite female leads in ongoing shonen right now, if not my favorite, is Momo Ayase. What did you just say? You butt ugly hag? Hold on, Psionic Arm's about to go stupid right now. I am not ugly. Okay, that didn't work. I'm not ugly. I'm not ugly. That's it. Get mad. The more blood rushes to your head, the less you can see what's going on around you. Like with your precious mirror. Huh? Oh shit, she yoinked it. My mirror. Give it back. Without my mirror, how can I see my sweet face? It's mine now. Damn it, no good. I thought my powers might work on it, but I can't enter the mirror. Well, whatever. I'll just have to take it with me and get my granny to take a look at it. If you want in so badly, how about I put you in there myself? Oh, no. Too bad, so sad. If the mirror reflects even a little of me, I can use my power. Oh, no. Oh, my God. These are, like, really cool rules, though. You know what I mean? Like, by no means does Dandadan have a very hard power system or anything like that. But the power system is used so consistently, despite, you know, large amounts of exposition, that it creates a good level of verisimilitude in the power system, right? Like, it legitimately feels like these things are happening because they have to happen that way, and not because the plot requires them to. Too bad, so sad. If the mirror reflects even a little bit of me, I can use my power. Ah, there you are. You ugly cows. Damn. Wow. Crazy situation that we're in right now. Yes, our daughter is very gangster. It's an interesting situation, right? Because it's like, because it doesn't have that hard power system, you know, aspect to it, it's hard to, you know, predict conflict resolution just off of the fact that there is a certain level of whimsy, you know, inside of, you know, the phenomenon and the supernatural extra normal things that happen in the series. So it's kind of like you have to kind of let Yuki Nobutatsu just kind of like guide you through the conflict and then just see, you know, what the conflict resolution is at the end. That's one thing that that I feel like is a strength of the softer power systems, right? Because when you have a harder power system and certain phenomena are going on, the harder the power system is, the more expectations we have of how, you know, conflicts can resolve. Because it's like, you know, we kind of just go down the list of things we know about the power system and check off what is possible and what's not possible. And then, you know, you can, if you're paying close enough attention, you can kind of guess, you know, conflict resolution in certain, you know, hard power system series. But that creates an issue because if your power system is that hard, then you have to really play everything super close to those rules and conditions that you've kind of created for your system, or else if you deviate away from that too hard, people that are paying attention are going to go, wait a minute, this is contradictory to some degree, because based on the explanation of the power system that we've had historically, this, that, or that shouldn't be able to happen. So you have to make sure that you're on your P's and Q's in the writing, otherwise your shit's going to feel flimsy. But when you have a softer power system, you know, and there is a certain level of whimsy to it, as long as you're on point and you make sure that all of that shit is consistent, then, you know, you can kind of fly by the seat of your pants a little bit and let, you know, the audience kind of like use their imagination to the best of their abilities before you drop, you know, the explanatory bomb on them as far as why this worked the way it did and why it didn't. And it has to make sure that it, like, you know, kind of fits in with the history of conflict resolution that you've used so far. Yeah. Momo and Ray, Vamola, bonding time. Yes, sir. It is so unpredictable, kind of like JoJo with stands, right? I'm not really a JoJo guy like that, but yeah, I've heard that that JoJo's really good about that. Beautiful chapter. Pretty straightforward though, you know what I'm saying? They tussled with the Uchisake Onna. We got some like information about how their abilities kind of operate. We know, you know, some of the strengths, we know the weaknesses. It's all about, you know, the uncertainty of how they're going to overcome the situation that creates the stakes in a situation like this, right? Because it's like, I can't for the life of me think about how they're going to deal with this. Like, some other outside party's going to come in and affect this in some kind of way, obviously, because they're clearly trapped inside of the mirror with like no real idea of like what they can do to get out. They kind of seem like they have to play by the Uchisake One's rule to a certain degree, but we might find out more about what it means to be inside of the mirror next chapter, and there might be something that can be exploited from inside the mirror that we find out in the next chapter. But as of right now, it definitely feels like they're just at the mercy of the Uchisake Onna. So that's what makes me think that, like, you know, an Okaroon or a Gigi or an Ira kind of have to come in to like deal with the situation. The really obvious like thing to me, I guess, is like maybe shatter the mirror, and that might break the spell. But then you might, you know, Yukino Butatsu might come back around and say, if you break this mirror, then you're all trapped in here forever. So you have to find a different way to kind of save everybody. Maybe there is some kind of you know, the user of the mirror, the Uchisake Onna, has to will them out of the mirror, and we might get storytelling that, you know, revolves around you know, convincing the Uchisake Onna to release them to some degree. There might be some like character writing based thing that makes the Uchisake Onna release them. It could be a situation like that. I definitely don't, you know, now that I brought it up, I definitely can't see it being a situation where it's like shatter the mirror and they're free. There's gotta be, it can't be that easy because it's a fucking mirror and glass is really easy to break. It's not going to be something that simple. You know what I mean? So even, I think Yuki Nobutatsu injects a Gigi or an Ira or an Okaroon, maybe even a Granny Seiko into the situation. And then maybe they're like, just break the glass, you know what I mean? And then Granny Seiko is like, it's not that simple. If I break the glass, you're all trapped in that dimension forever. I gotta do X, Y, Z to the Uchisake Onna to allow her to let you free. Maybe it's a situation like that. Because if it's a situation where the yokai has to agree to release them, then that's a really good opportunity for very strong character writing and world building around the yokai that they're using right now. So I think I want it to be a situation like that because Yuki Nobutatsu will write the shit out of that. Nox, do you read manhwa? Yes, I do. I'm a big fan of Tower of God. I read The God of High School for like 250 chapters. I'm a big fan of Soul Cartel. You know, that's more on like, those are all more on like the webcomic, webtoon side of things. As far as like manhwa goes, I'm like one of the biggest Breaker fans you'll ever meet. I also really love The King of Hell. Immortal Regis, Cavalier of the Abyss, Eureka / ID Entity. Those are all really good manhwa. Dark Air is a great manhwa. Yeah, I'm well versed. Solo Leveling, I read that too. I dropped it after the bug arc though. I dropped it shortly after the you know, their version of the Chimera Ant arc or whatever. It just wasn't doing what I thought it was going to do. You know what I mean? It's similar reasons that I kind of like dropped Mashal. They set Mashal and Solo Leveling up, you know, in a way that made me think we could be going in a certain direction after a certain point, and then it was kind of like a hard pivot into a different direction that I, you know, am not the biggest fan of. For Mashal, it was, you know, leaning more into the comedic side of things, and, you know, it just didn't do a really good job of, for me personally, like Mashal is doing everything that it has been trying to do perfectly well. There isn't anything inherently objectively wrong with Mashal as a series. I just thought it was going to go, you know, it was going to leave a lot more of that comedy behind to, you know, to take more of a serious route inside of its world building and power scaling and conflict resolutions. But it leaned more into the comedy than I was expecting, and so I was just like, I don't care about anything that happens, so I dropped it. Solo Leveling, you know, is a similar situation where it's like, okay, Sung Jin Woo is the most broken character ever because he can do these things. Effortless, you know, effortless conflict resolution, effortless conflict resolution. I think the last time I remember Sung Jin Woo struggling even a little bit was when he got Egress, and I was like, okay, so they can introduce things that will pose a challenge to this character. And then we got to that Chimera Ant arc and he kind of low diffed that. And I was like, okay, well, this was the opportunity to kind of introduce some level of stakes even inside of a broken main character. And they just didn't do that. So eventually it just ended up feeling like One Punch Man without the brilliant side character cast. And I was like, I'm good. I'll just read One Punch Man and it'll actually be good. So that is kind of like where I ended up with Solo Leveling. Yeah, It's always the worst when you have like the highest hopes for a certain series. You know what I mean? You know exactly what it wants to produce for you, and then it just zags in the complete opposite direction. And it's like, oh, that's too bad. You could have been so much better, you know. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just my tastes. You know what I mean? It's just my wants, my opinions, my expectations for the series that weren't met, and it lost my, you know, it lost my attention because of that. But yeah, Dandadan was incredible this week. Loved that chapter. What's up, Yato? What is good? I'm glad you were able to make it. All right, so we're going into Marriage Toxin next. And then we're going to finish with Chainsaw Man. Marriage Toxin, I'm enjoying a great deal. I just caught up today, and I think that this world is incredible. I think the cast is incredible. I think the idea around Marriage Toxin is very unique and awesome. How far back on Marriage Toxin are you, Yato? That's actually really surprising that you're behind on Marriage Toxin. You're the one that showed me what this series was. But yeah, Marriage Toxin's really good. You know, and I've read a lot of assassin stories, you know what I mean? Like, assassin stories are some of my favorites, you know what I mean? Where murder is just like commonplace in the story, and it's actually a part of the job. You know what I mean? I think that's always just a good idea for a story. I feel like it's one of those evergreen premises. But Marriage Toxin takes a really, you know, interesting spin on it, because maybe we've all thought about it before in assassin stories where the line of work is cold, brutal murder, and, you know, they go into themes about how these people can never experience true love, or they've only known loneliness, etc., etc. And you think about it maybe in some of those stories, like, man, I wonder what would happen if this assassin just like tried to settle down and have a family. You know what I mean? Maybe you thought about that, but Marriage Toxin takes that and spreads it across like the entire atmosphere. It's like we're all in this assassination job together, but like we've been in it for long enough and we're ready to settle down. There are multiple characters that are shown throughout Marriage Toxin that have kind of been working towards leaving the assassination job behind, or at least allowing themselves to be happy in a way that they never thought was possible for people in their line of work. You know what I mean? It's like this dude's getting married, the bug user. The needle user that we just met a couple chapters ago already has a family and is settled down to a certain degree, has 3 kids. The main character is trying to find love and settle down and get away from this assassination stuff. So it's like an overall premise-wide concept that we're trying to, you know, move away from the assassination field for more reasons than just, I'm tired of killing people. It was never like a part of Garrow's, you know, character to be like, I've killed too many people. I'm a shell of my former self. I don't feel alive. Like I want to just stop killing people because I'm an altruist now, etc., etc. We never really got that. The motivation is you have something missing in your life that you were never able to, you know, experience and feel like the boat has sailed on that. Like, you'll never be able to experience this thing. Well, guess what? You totally can, and here's how you can do it. That's so interesting and so awesome to me. If you kill someone, you don't really deserve happiness. Well, that is a very black and white stance on it, right? Because the assassins in Marriage Toxin seem to only be trying to kill extremely terrible people. So would you tell the assassin who was tasked with killing Hitler, if they succeeded, that they don't deserve happiness? Yeah, the moral blur on these kinds of concepts is always so interesting to me from like a philosophical and like psychological level, because it's like, yeah, look at Dexter. Dexter only kills people who absolutely suck. So it's like he doesn't deserve happiness? Maybe. If you're a bootlicker, you might agree with that. There are caveats if you kill a murderer or rapist or in self-defense, it's fine. Sure, and most of us will be able to agree on that, but like, who are you to draw that line? who are you to decide like what's okay and what's not okay when it comes to murder, right? We all feel like very, you know, confident in our idea of like what is and isn't okay. But like at the end of the day, that shit varies from person to person. So like, what do you hinge it on? How many people agree? Majority vote? I mean, whatever, that sounds safe. But like that's one of those philosophical quandaries that like really makes for a compelling story. From a societal standpoint, right? So the majority vote. How, like, what is an idea that most people can get behind? And it's like, that's fine. You know what I mean? That's safe, that's cool. But at the end of the day, it's not, you know, it's not an objective or, you know, consensus on like what's okay and what's not okay. You know what I mean? Have I read The Punisher, Knox? Yeah, I've read hella Punisher. Absolutely. Am I on Trojan X? Yes, I am. I love Trojan X. And that's a good point, Sam. I don't think Dexter was happy in the end. And I didn't, you know, watch the like new season of Dexter or whatever that they came out with to kind of like fix the last season or whatever. I kind of just watched the last season and was like, oh, that's too bad. They kind of like lost the point towards the end and like gave like a bad final season or whatever. But I heard that they want to fix it. And I haven't seen that yet. I don't even know if that season is out yet or not or whatever. But what do you think will happen next week in Dandadan, Knox? I was away for the read. I already talked about that. Watch the VOD. We're on MARRIAGETOXIN now. I already gave my guesses. Sorry to hard stop you there, Yato, but we gotta stay focused. We gotta keep it pushing. We on MARRIAGETOXIN now. Chapter 21, Paint the World with Joy. Yeah, MARRIAGETOXIN's so good. You know what I mean? It definitely knows what's expected of the paths that it takes storytelling-wise, and actively works to subvert those expectations and kind of zag where everyone thinks it's going to zig. So the unexpected conflict resolution that's also like woven beautifully into character development writing is like my favorite thing about MARRIAGETOXIN right now. All of these girls that he runs into are initially characterized in these certain ways, and then he, you know, is the character that he is as Garrow. So like there's a lot of comedy inside of him and fuck, I can't even remember old dude's name, the deuteragonist or whatever, but their dynamic is hilarious. And so like while Garrow is getting his, you know, development and progression in character writing, these women that he meets, you know, in his dating life are also getting this amazing characterization and character development writing. And it all kind of like perfectly fits together like a puzzle with the conflict and the conflict resolution. So everything just feels so planned and thorough and amazing in MARRIAGETOXIN so far. Can't get enough of it, to be honest with you. Paint the World with Joy. The lovely couple met in the mountains and spent their days off camping together, a hobby they both share. Another Chateau Brian, please. Oh yeah, okay. So I think that the cliffhanger at the end of the last chapter, right, was somebody jealous of the bug user's happiness and marriage, and now they're trying to sabotage the marriage, right? I think is what's going on here. They're trying to sabotage the wedding. Garrow-kun, where are you? Don't you have a speech coming up soon? Kinosaki, that's her name. His name, whatever. Kinosaki, take care of it. What? And what's up with that spider? I get it, Julia Jr. As his closest comrades, you want to make sure that absolutely nothing ruins his wedding. After all, it's his special day. Just 5 more minutes. Break into the venue from your assigned entrances and light them up. The more you kill, the bigger your bonus. Once Bug Boy and the other specialists join the fray, all of you can leave. And while everyone's distracted, I'll toss the bride her booming bouquet. I'm starting to think this guy's not that nice. I'll watch as she burns a brilliant red. It'll be a sight I'll never forget for the rest of my big stepper. Woo! Garrow. Big Garrow. Another thing I love about this series is that, like, Garrow obviously is a prodigious talent inside of his respective assassination clan, the Poison Clan. He's the strongest member that they've ever seen, probably. You know what I mean? So, like, as we go into this more slice of life comedic storytelling, everything kind of makes sense that they're able to do everything they're able to do because Garrow is filthy rich because of his profession. And because he's been, you know, steadfast and razor focused on his profession, he probably doesn't have, like, you know, and it doesn't really make sense to his character to be, you know, a lavish, you know, excessive spender or anything like that. So he's got all of this fucking unlimited money, so they get to go out and buy whatever outfits they need, go on whatever dates they need to go to, at whatever restaurant they want to go to, and just like money is not a problem for these characters. So anything that they decide to go do in the slice of life storytelling is like, okay, this makes sense because this dude is loaded. Yeah, and that's just really cool. You know what I mean? Because, like, that's always something that I'm, like, thinking about when I'm reading stories is, like, okay, like, how broke are these characters? What are their jobs? Like, what are they doing? Because, like, a lot of people, like, they go out to restaurants and they go out drinking and they go out and do this and that or whatever. But it's like, if you go out of your way to provide, you know, the means that they have to do all of these things need to happen for the sake of the plot, right? You know what I mean? If you need to go somewhere and do something, hang out at a restaurant, go buy something, whatever, that's all for the sake of the plot. We expect those things to happen. I feel like a lot of people don't really think about, you know, the legitimacy of, like, you know, does it make sense that they're able to go do these things? You know what I mean? But the authors that go out of their way to, you know, to show you why those things can happen, it helps a lot with the verisimilitude. Oh shit, who got timed out? Marriage-Toxin, I think, would have done a good job in Jump, to be honest. Yeah, maybe. I was reading, like, the comment sections in the first couple of chapters, and people were already like, oh, this is a gay story. Yaoi? What are we doing yaoi for? What is all this trap business, etc., etc.? So, even though I agree, I think it would have done just fine in Weekly Shonen Jump. You always have that Western audience that, like, you know, can't think beneath the surface and just see, like, some shit and then base their entire opinion on the series off of, like, their initial assumptions of it. And that would have been, you know, quite a headache on the timeline, to be honest with you. I don't even know what happened to the person who got, Dead Zombie got timed out. What'd you do, Zombie? Whatever. It was deleted and you were timed out, so I have to assume that my moderators made the correct choice. Don't do it again. Dead Zombie said Black Clover greater than Marriage-Toxin. You haven't read Marriage-Toxin, but you were correct to time him out for that. We don't do that here. We don't do all that Black Clover greater than sign business at Page Walker TV. Keep that shit in your Black Clover group chats or on the timeline or something. There is nothing ongoing right now that I'm reading that Black Clover is better than. I'm sorry. That's what I get for hiring mercenaries through Indeed. Oh well. Change of plans. Booming Labyrinth. Oh wow. What a waste. I was planning to use this one on the guests to blast them right into the afterlife as they ran. But I guess I'll just use it on you instead, you noisy bastard. Nosy bastard. There we go. Yeah, Undeed was funny. Undeed was good. I always like seeing how manga creators will take, you know, established companies and brands and businesses and, you know, do their little copyright infringement dodging storytelling around that. Like in Radiant, you got Stardust Coffee, Like very reminiscent of Starbucks coffee, but it's Stardust. Shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Undeed. Yugle. Shit like that. But I guess I'll just use it on you instead, you nosy bastard. Right now, all I want to do is thank my good old pal Bug Boy for taking my only passion away from me. There was a time long ago when I didn't care about anything. School, work, marriage, nothing moved me. Even when I found myself under a mountain of debt, I was apathetic. Joint guarantor, name Masahide Yamada. To pay back the loans, a person who called themselves a doll user modified me and turned me into a tool for the underworld. Still, I felt nothing. It's done, Yamada-kun. I placed small explosives in your wrists, ankles, and head. At the moment of impact, bite the switch in your molar and use your flesh and bone to blow away your target. Nova Star Strike. From now on, your life's purpose is to go out with a bang. Wow. Boom. And if things get dicey, pow. You can just take yourself out at the same time. Okay. Nova Star Strike was the first thing in my life that made me feel. That's a very dark origin, right? It's like, you're our tool now. You work for us. Blow up anyone you want. And if things get weird, blow up yourself and take out as many people as you can. That's the new life motivation after this rebirth. Okay. That is until I met him. Uh-oh. Oh. What the? Huh? Now's the time. All I gotta do is trigger the explosive in my head. He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna take dude out with me. But he showed me compassion and gentleness. And take him with me. Buzz. I deactivated it. Oh, damn, okay. So he was definitely gonna do it, but the bugs got him. You don't have to worry about dying anymore. I saved you. Fuck yeah. And just like that, that ass took away my passion to indulge his own selfish ego. Oh man, he's mad that he took his entire life motivation away from him for the sake of, you know, some altruistic, you know, compassionate, almost self-aggrandizing, like, I saved you. I'm awesome. I assumed your life and took something away from you that I assumed was terrible for you, but was really your life's entire driving force. And now you're pissed about that. That's really good. That's really good writing. That ass took away my passion to indulge his own selfish ego. He took something important from me. It's only fair I take something important from him. The doll user advanced me some new hands and feet. And I worked a ton of crap jobs to save up money, all for this long-awaited day. So I'll be damned if I let a nosy, oh, I guess you're dead. Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks, Kinosaki. I'm counting on you to cover for me. You want sushi? Got it. You were saying something? He's like, huh? Hold on, this nigga is built different. You know what? Never mind. Doesn't matter. No decent man holds a grudge against bug user. Leave. We won't be needing your entertainment at this wedding. Next, a speech from one of the groom's friends. I'm gonna make him treat me to some expensive sushi for putting me through all this. That's it? Okay, so this is really cool, right? Because, like, Garrow's character comes back into play. I only fuck up people who are shitty. So we introduce a, you know, an antagonistic situation or a villainous, you know, a villainous force. You know what I mean? That seems terrible at first. Like, why are you trying to fuck up a dude's wedding? You know what I'm saying? You can't possibly have a good reason for that. And then we get the flashback. Okay? This is all this dude knew, and Bugman took that away from him. So we got some pathos for this antagonist, and we can kind of sympathize with his motivations for revenge. A little bit. You know what I mean? So you inject that, but then Garrow and his character, you know, lets us know that those motivations for revenge are entirely irrational. Like, yes, we feel kind of bad for you just based on that little bit of an origin that we got for you, but at the end of the day, you're tweaking right now. And anybody that has an issue with this glorious, perfect saint of a human being that is the bug user has to be human garbage. Therefore, I don't care if I've hated you. Excellent. Excellent. And this is what I mean by that, like, you know, kind of like roller coaster zigzag in expectations and the subversion of them, right? This creative team does a really good job of making you, you know, feel a certain way, and then introducing twisty, you know, character writing or plot writing that kind of recontextualizes your understanding of the situation. But it's always like extremely cathartic conflict resolution. You know? Like, the shit always feels so good, even when your emotions are being flung back and forth like a rubber band. When it's all said and done, you look back on it and go, all of that shit was executed very well. Loved it. Marriage Toxin 21. Done. Can't wait for the next one. Chainsaw Man 105. Red hot. Last chapter of the night. I heard this fucking Chainsaw Man chapter is crazy. Like, I saw so many people tweet about Chainsaw Man today and going like, Fujimoto is on some other shit. This Chainsaw Man chapter was crazy. What is Fujimoto doing, etc., etc. So I'm like dumb hype for this right now. Hey, Asa, where do you think you're going? That Denji boy just told you he's Chainsaw Man. Okay, that's cool that Yoru is coming in to kind of, you know, throw a monkey wrench in the comedic subversion that Fujimoto used last chapter, where it's like, yes, Yoshida was like, this chick was thirsty as hell, Denji's thirsty as hell, let's have them meet up. Unbeknownst to everybody, Asa is the war devil / Yoru and actually wants Chainsaw Man or somebody to fall in love with them so that they can use them as a weapon. That was high tension. That was like nail bitey. Like, oh my god, what's going to happen with that? Then Fujimoto has Denji with his meat-headed ass go, I'm Chainsaw Man. Let me get the buns now. And Asa immediately goes, you're lame as hell. I don't believe you. Get the fuck out of here, you dumbass fanboy. And it's like, oh my god, that's so funny and wild. And then now here comes Yoru going like, hey, that wasn't a joke. Like, we should take that seriously. You aren't the sharpest tool in the shed, are you, Yoru? Are you calling me stupid? Chainsaw Man wouldn't out himself like that. He'd be in serious trouble if his identity got exposed. Not to mention, he said he's a Chainsaw Man fan. He was even wearing a Chainsaw Man shirt. It'd be so stupid if he was Chainsaw Man. Playing into, you know, that obviousness. It's like nobody would be that stupid. It's like, well, lady, I hate to break it to you, but that was extremely face value. Everything he was saying was correct. And I know that you wouldn't expect that because we're at a point now where we can assume that people wouldn't be that obvious if they're that high profile of a character. So this is just really cool, frustrating, comedic, you know, complicated character writing right now. I'm not stupid. I'm not. Okay, already. I take it back. Chapter 105, Red Hot. Wow. Yoru, that's got Yoru up in arms. That's how you get underneath Yoru's skin, is calling him dumb. Okay. Because like up until now, like Yoru has been like, you know, the mature, calculated, you know what I mean, enigmatic devil force. But now Fujimoto is bringing it back to a very human element of, it's very easy to get under this devil skin if you just insult them. Insult their intelligence and they feel very human suddenly. Okay. Chapter 105, Red Hot. School's out, let's get hunting. We're almost out of time to get accepted into the Devil Hunter Club. No can do, I'm visiting Yuko today. What? If you can't be bothered to help, I'm perfectly happy to kill you. Have you even thought about how to find Chainsaw Man? Beats me. Wouldn't he show himself if we drew a devil to school? I see. That is a good idea. But how do we draw a devil to school? You're the smart one. You come up with something. Oh! In the meantime, I'm visiting Yuko. Maybe I can actually tame her. Wow. Ah, Chainsaw Woman. It's Chainsaw Woman. What? You saved me from a devil. You're Chainsaw Woman. Uh-huh. Here, I brought you some soft drinks. Awesome. Soft drinks. Gosh, I've had zilch to do but sunbathe. The sunset's really gorgeous from here. Sit down with me, Asa. Okay. Fujimoto loves these time-passing, copy-pasted, panels to show. Like, nothing has changed, but the fact that there's two of the exact same panel communicates something to you. Sorry. I can't stand awkward silences. I never know what to say during these moments. Ha ha ha! What gives? It's not like I'd know any better. I've never had friends either. You're kidding me, right? You seem like you totally have friends. There are people I talk to in class, but you're the only one who's come by to check on me. Oh, I know. At moments like this, you're supposed to share your deepest, darkest secrets. I read in a book once that having shared secrets is how you made best friends. How you make best friends. I just thought about mine, and I have way too many secrets I can never share. Really? I want to know. Spill. Well, here's one I can tell you. This one time back in grade school, I was holding my pee and wound up peeing myself during class. I lied and said it wasn't pee, it was sweat. No way! The whole class was nice enough to play along. Ha, ow, my leg. My leg? I still scream underwater in the tub when I remember it. Ah, leg. Ow, ow. Are you okay? Are you okay? My leg hurts. It hurts so bad. Jeez, you can't go telling people that stuff. Aren't we sharing our deepest, darkest secrets? Even then, geez Louise. Your turn. After that story, now I have to share a big one. You better. Ah. Whew. Promise you won't tell a soul. All right. Promise. The dialogue feels so real in Chainsaw Man. Like, I ever since I started thinking about it, I always like look at dialogue and, say it out loud to myself and think about like actually having that conversation with another person. You know what I mean? And a lot of the times it's actually like kind of like really affected my way that I look at dialogue in comic books. You know what I mean? Because now that I started doing that, any dialogue that doesn't feel like an actual person would say it just ends up feeling like it's a, narrative device for the sake of the plot. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But like, since I'm such a big fan of like organic feeling dialogue as like a Quentin Tarantino fan or, like something like that, it makes me kind of like look at dialogue that's only used for the sake of advancing the plot as not as good. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's anything that I can do about that, but yeah, now I just like, I look at Fujimoto dialogue and I look at, any other kinds of like extremely organic feeling dialogue and I just go, this is the tip top. This is the cream of the crop dialogue, and everything else just feels like narrative puppetry. Promise me you won't tell a soul. All right, I promise. I killed someone yesterday. Huh? Oh yeah? Who? My neighbor. Wow. Why'd you do it? Because he'd go gamble at pachinko even though he was on welfare for disability. What the hell? Right? Yup. What the hell? Oh my god. And then the back-to-back-to-back copy-paste panels for just the reaction. Time passing, awkward silence. So good. Oh my god. Fujimoto really is the Tarantino of manga, man. This feels very Pulp Fiction right now. Love this spread. Fujimoto is so good with shading and contrast and just candid dialogueless shots. The return of the door. Oh shit, Shiloh. Do I notice her smile disappearing? Let me go look. Oh yeah, it is the most subtle thing ever. Yeah, she's really sitting on that one. Wow. Oof. Who's that, Yuko? Friend of yours? Yep, this is my friend. Have lots of fun while you're still young, you hear? Now this is like really interesting that they introduce Yuko as a murderer, right? Because her reason for murder is very like not agreeable, right? Like he'd go gamble at pachinko even though he was on welfare for disability. That's why you killed him. That sucks as reasoning for most people, I want to say, right? So then the last couple of chapters where Yoru is like, just kill this bitch and turn her into a weapon. What do you care? What the fuck? We got to get this money. You know what I'm saying? Like we got our own goals. We got things that we're trying to do. You know, she's basically dead in the water anyway. Fuck that bitch. Turn her into a weapon. And Asa does the very relatable, very understandable, you know, she's the POV character essentially for us as the reader. And she goes, no, that is not a good enough reason. Plus, I've built up kind of a relationship, a little bit of a relationship with this character. So I definitely don't want to kill her. Ooh, I got like a little scratch in my throat. Right? So like so that storytelling a couple of chapters ago before Denji ended up saving them made a lot of sense for us at the time. We're like, don't fucking kill Yuko. Yuko's great. What the fuck? She didn't even do anything. And then Denji comes in, you know, and it makes us think like, oh my god, maybe, you know, she's got a fucking stake through her leg. Maybe Asa does, you know, come around and do what Yoru says and turns her into a weapon. She almost did it. Then we got like the caveat about how she can't like do Yoru stuff if she's like anxious or frightened or something like that. And it totally distracted us from the possibility that Yuko will eventually end up having this kind of writing. You know, and now that we find out that she's a murderer with very poor reasoning, it completely changes our, at least my interpretation of the chapters where she was in danger and Asa wanted to save her. You know what I mean? Wow. Wow. Who's that, Yuko? Friend of yours? Yep, this is my friend. Have lots of fun while you're still young, you hear? Yep, we will. That's old Mr. Asada. Gives me pickles and snacks sometimes. Huh. You were joking earlier, right? Wanna see? Yo! Huh? The body's in my backyard. Wanna see it? No. Okay, but anyway, this is great. We both shared secrets. That means that we're besties now. Oh, this chick is sick. Asa's like... bitch. Don't worry. I promise I won't tell a soul about your secrets either. About peeing yourself. About how you killed your teacher and class president. And about Yoru? How'd you... no secrets between besties, right? Yo, this is crazy. The thing is, I made a contract with the Justice Devil yesterday. That's the same devil that the class president had a contract with, right? Oh my god. A contract with the Justice Devil turns your sense of justice into power. I can read minds now. It's perfect for me since I don't understand people. Now there are no more secrets between us. Ah, I feel better getting that off my chest. Aren't unauthorized contracts illegal, though? Why'd you go and make a contract with a devil? This is nuts. It's okay when it's in the name of justice. I made the contract to save you, Asa. I'm gonna get rid of your bullying problem. Don't come to school tomorrow? Yo! This is literally the joke of like what someone would do if they noticed like school shooter tendencies in a classmate. I think I've seen the meme a million times where it's like, gave the nerdy white kid a Snickers bar, you know, before homeroom today, hoping that he'll tell me to not come to school when he decides to shoot the school up or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we've all seen that shit. Yo, all the other kids with the pumped up kicks. Yo, you better run, outrun my gun. Yo. This is why you be nice to the quiet kid, right? Like that's definitely like Fujimoto has such an interesting way to use meme culture in his storytelling. I feel like this is truly the beginning of part 2. School shooting arc starts now? Oh my god. This chapter hits different for anyone in the United States. Yeah, absolutely. A motivation for Mitaka was Yuko saying, even if my actions turn out to be a mistake, if my heart was in the right place, that's all that matters to me. Damn, Yuko said that like chapters ago or whatever. That's really cool foreshadowing actually for this. Maybe not foreshadowing, but just like, you know, it makes the character feel that much better when you can go back to, you know, ambiguous, vague dialogue like that we assume one thing of when it's said, but then later actions completely recontextualize that for us. That line of dialogue hits way different now that we got this character reveal from Yuko. So fire. So fire. Fujimoto is very deep in the bag right now. This is really good stuff. Wow. Wow. Yeah, Chainsaw Man, bro. Fuck, man. It was when Mitaka saved her, okay? So good. Goddamn, Chainsaw Man is fire. Part 2 is not letting up on the gas, like, at all. You know what I mean? Like, some people, you know, will have their issues with Chainsaw Man Part 2, obviously. That's just what comes with taking such a long break. But I do not see a difference in the writing quality or art quality for Chainsaw Man from Part 1 to Part 2. It feels like it was all, you know, a part of the same grandiose plan for the series. Every chapter's been crazy. Yeah, absolutely. Fujimoto writes like he worked for CD Projekt Red. Don't let anybody be happy. What up, Ergo? I thought Fujimoto was gonna chill out for a little bit longer, but he hit us with this. Yeah. See, that's when Fujimoto knows, you know, what his writing does to people. You know what I mean? He knows what emotions people are going to feel. He knows what assumptions people are going to make. And he picks the perfect times to zag. He's such a special, different, unique creator in the field. All I need to see now is Nayuta and Kobeni. Yes, that is definitely also what I am waiting for. Art improved actually for these non-action chapters. They sure did. I agree. Yeah, for sure. The art has definitely, it's definitely like, you know, obviously the same Chainsaw Man art and just Fujimoto art in general. But it does seem like this bi-weekly schedule has allowed him to, you know, add more detail, more screen tones, more shading, more etc. to these panels. Or something like that. Just the art definitely feels a little bit different in a good way in Chainsaw Man Part 2. I still want to see if the Death Devil is a thing. It's got to be. It's got to be like final boss devil, low-key, right? Because like what primordial, you know, carnal fear beats death? You know what I mean? We got the Darkness Devil in Part 1, and that was a really big deal, and that was really relatable. Everybody can understand why the Darkness Devil was so broken. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has been afraid of the dark at some point in their life. The Death Devil is evergreen, consistent. Everybody is afraid of that shit, even if they say they're not. You know what I mean? So that's gotta be, you know, one of the last devils that we see. You know? And I remember when I had my kid, when I had my son, when my son was born, I was doing, you know, research or whatever. And they said that the only fears that you're born with, the only fears that you are absolutely, unconditionally, undisputably born with, that aren't learned fears, like arachnophobia, you're not born afraid of bugs and spiders. You develop that, you acquire that, you know, later in life. But the only fears you're born with are the fears of heights, falling, being dropped, and the fear of really loud noises. Everything else is a learned fear. But death is a fear that I feel like you're still born with, even if you can't fully grasp the concept of. Like, everything comes down to a, you know, Darwinistic fight or flight response. Even if you don't know what you're afraid of, it all comes down to, I want to protect my life, self-preservation, well-being preservation. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to die at the end of the day. You know what I mean? All of your fears kind of like stem from that. All of the things that you do to protect yourself stem from the fear that whatever you're protecting yourself from could potentially kill you, whether you're aware of it or not. So death has got to be like the final devil, right? Yuko might read Denji's mind at a time where her and Asa find Denji taking care of Nayuta and decide it's not right to attack him. That sounds good. Hounds of War. Yeah, there's the Apocalypse Theory. Chainsaw Man is going to have 4 parts. One for each horseman of the apocalypse. So part 1 was Control Conquest. Part 2 is War. Part 3 will be Famine. And part 4 will be Death. I like that a lot. I like that a lot, actually. Loneliness is definitely a fear. You know, a common fear. The emo kids disagree with the fear of not wanting to die. Yeah. I don't know about all that. I had to fight my nephew from putting a fork in the power socket. But is that a lack of a fear of death, or is that just ignorance? Like, how old is your nephew? Like, there's so many questions that come with that. Like, curiosity is not, you know, exactly synonymous with lack of fear of death. You know what I mean? Loneliness should be final boss. Most people would rather die than be lonely. Yeah, they say that. They say that, but yeah, and you never know how the writer could spin it. You know what I mean? Like, it's Fujimoto's story. It's his job to communicate the themes and the message of the story. You know what I mean? And any writer with a brilliant enough mind can make most themes make sense through very specific anecdotal, you know, very, very specific, you know, writing techniques. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we're going like, until that's revealed in the writing of the very specific series that we're talking about. You know what I mean? Like if we're going, on an entirely conceptual level of, what makes sense to most people, I feel like death is the biggest fear possible. Denji's about to destroy her though, or Yoshida. Yuko picked the worst school. Yeah. What's wrong with being lonely? I mean, there's nothing, really wrong with being lonely, from the point of view of the lonely person. Something you can definitely do something about, but you can't hold loneliness against somebody. The BBW devil probably go crazy. Are people really afraid of big, beautiful women? I'm not. I welcome that. They used to call me the BBW Slayer. No, they didn't. Anyway, that was an incredible Chainsaw Man chapter. That's all we got, right? Yeah, there's a new Diamond in the Rough, but it's a bonus chapter. We're not going to get into that. So the first Diamond in the Rough live reaction will be not this next week, but the week after that. I know a few, but I'm gonna try to make a contract. Nothing wrong with being alone, but nobody wants to feel lonely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, everybody, that was a great stream. Thanks for joining me. That's all we got for the night, though. Next week, Jump Plus will have more series to react to and review. Yeah. But thanks for joining me tonight. It was cool. It was chill. It was nice. It was very short and sweet, but very potent. MARRIAGETOXIN, Dandadan, and Chainsaw Man all had very strong chapters this week. And I'm glad that you all were able to join me for my first experience of them. But you know where to find me. I'm on Twitter at Nox_PW. Subscribe on YouTube if you're not already. It's just the Page Walker. Follow on the Twitch if you're not already. Consider subscribing to the Twitch. Consider subscribing to the Patreon. There's only one tier. It's $1. It gives you early access to the VODs that inevitably go on YouTube, and also gives you access to a patron-exclusive Discord server where me and my patrons kick it and, watch anime, play video games, stream whatever, and just kick it with good vibes. So if you're into that kind of thing, I implore you to consider clicking the Patreon link and throwing that support my way. It goes a long way, and it's highly appreciated. But you guys have a great rest of your night. Like I said, you know where to find me. I'll be back this Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for the weekly Shonen Magazine live reaction that includes Shangri-La Frontier, Ranger Reject, Gachi Akuda, and Eden Zero. So if you're fans of those, I will see you this Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on the Page Walker Twitch. But otherwise, you guys have a great rest of your night. Catch y'all next time.